going.
The badges of the pigs. The badges of the pigs. To the Rahmans and the Muhammads. To the Rahmans and the Muhammads. To the Alis and the Abdullahs. To the Alis and the Abdullahs. To the Rafids. To the Rafids. To the Rafids. To the Rafids. The pigs. Who can call themselves by the name of Islam? Who can call themselves by the name of Islam? To the Muhammads! To the Muhammads! Put some respect on that name! 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 La ilaha illallah! La ilaha illallah! Shahid Habib Allah! Shahid Habib Allah!
She seems a little angry.
She's so mad about.
Fuck. Let's get into this because this is the craziness. This is crazy town right here. All right. Welcome to the Rude Barn Podcast, everyone. Let's get into this now. All right. Welcome back to the Rude Barn Podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your second time here or more, welcome back.
Thanks for coming back. Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you. Oh, there is some interesting stuff. And the whole topic today is Islam a religion of peace? And if you looked at that, how could you doubt that it wasn't? She seems very peaceful.
She's very peaceful. Yeah.
So we've got some cool shirts up here. This is the new one. This is you can change the label, but the beer is the same. That's for our friends who think the trannies are awesome. Nope, you're not transitioning to a woman. You're still a man, still a dude. And then Fauci. Here's Fauci, the mad scientist. He is science, apparently, in case you were wondering. This one, I was just we're going to revisit the real ID thing because there's a lot of that. That's the stepping stone into digital surveillance and putting everything on you. And they're talking about how you need a real ID to board a plane, which you really don't. And everybody's like, oh, okay, that's great. But you need an ID to vote. Oh my God, everybody's up in arms. I mean, isn't it true? Reborn flag, patriotic flag right there. And then my favorite, mostly peaceful psychopath. There we are. So check out our stuff on the Etsy store. We're proud. We put stuff up, new stuff up every once in a while. So enjoy and go check it out because every little bit helps to do the show. We don't make a lot on it. We just want to get it out there for everybody so you can enjoy it as well. So anyway, we're here talking about, guess what? Is Islam a religion of peace? And are Muslims the same as Islamists? What's your thought on that, Rude? Do you think they're the same? Do you think they're different?
I think they're a little bit different, especially the radical ones. I mean, there's radical in every sect of religion that you dive into, but it seems like they embrace it a little bit more.
They seem to be a little more, enthusiastic, if you will, about their beliefs and following the tenets of their religion a little bit closer than most. And that's everywhere. I mean, you can get a Catholic who thinks that they're the greatest thing in the world, and everybody else kind of like whatever. Same with Mormons. The really devout Mormons think that they are high society over everybody else. But here's the difference between those guys and what you hear out of some of these Muslims. And I'm not trying to put all Muslims in the same category because there are some great people. And I have personal friends who are awesome. And you'd never know it, that they were Muslim or whatever. But some of these people are kind of out to eliminate those who aren't Muslim. And we're going to get into a few things that talk about that. And no, not all of the 1.5 to 2 billion, however many you want to add up and however you get to that number. But there's just enough. And they seem to be using a lot of our sympathy, our compassion, our laws, and everything kind of against us and calling us Islamophobes if they don't get their way. And their way doesn't mesh with our society usually. I don't know if you've seen much like that out there.
Doesn't that kind of align with, the current I don't know, LGBTQ
Oh,
XYZ plus 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 plus.
excellent point.
And what I think it comes down to is almost a and I'm going to put this out here right at the beginning of the show, and kind of let you marinate on it a little bit, because I think what it comes down to is an identity crisis almost. And when you start self-identifying with these things before you identify as a person, or
So
as
these
the
external things, issues, whatever.
yeah, these external things, when that becomes your number one identity, and you start, moving in that direction and making that your purpose almost, as a person, as your identity, then I think that that's kind of where, where stuff starts to go awry a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's when, that's when I can see these people getting into these radical states, because, there's no, it almost seems like there's no self identifying qualities about these people. So they grab onto these external ideas and make that their identity, which doesn't work. I don't think it works. This is my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I think you're probably right on that, because they're using these external forces to give themselves a purpose, give themselves an identity, give themselves a reason. My issue with a lot of these radical Islamic groups, and I try to separate if you're a Muslim compared to if you're Islamist, because I think the Islamists really take the definitions and the meanings and the interpretations of the Quran to an nth degree. And this is what we have, and we did if you looked at our video on the Iran and Israeli war, the 2-part series we just did a couple weeks ago, it talks about that. You're dealing with an ideology that strongly believes that their prophecy needs to be fulfilled by the elimination, extermination, whatever you want to call it, of every drop of blood of every Jew in the world. And it's not stopping at the Jews, it's also going to the Christians. And I mean, look what ISIS did with the Buddhist statues in Afghanistan and all that after, they fell. They were destroying beautiful historical statues that were carved into the rock mountainsides and things like that, because it wasn't theirs.
Yeah.
And you have to have something wrong in your head that thinks that you are so superior to every other person in the world who's not also a Muslim or is a follower of Islam and Allah and Muhammad, that you can destroy what everybody else has. And nothing matters as if you're not them. You are subservient. You're pawn scum, basically, in their eyes.
Well, doesn't it seem more peaceful, I guess, just in a ideological way, that almost like it's just sit back and say, okay, well, I don't agree with you. I think my way's the way, but you know what?
Continue to believe what you want or whatever.
Yeah, believe you want, and then I'm gonna make it to the
kingdom beyond
heaven or
whatever.
Kingdoms or whatever they're talking about, and you're not, and that's when I'm gonna have the last laugh. But until then, I'll be over here. I'm gonna do me, and you do you, and we can live in peace together. But I'm gonna have the last laugh.
Yeah. I may not have my kids play with your kids because, you're whatever, but that's as far as it goes. I'm not going to talk to you or befriend you or do anything with you.
Right.
And that would be fine. I think, okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not going to destroy your property either, or your, religious idols. That's not for me to do, because, again, in a peaceful way, I feel like I'm going to have the last laugh. So,
yeah. But it just
doesn't that seem better than
destroying
these
other people's shit? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's the pompousness. It's the freaking arrogance of these people that think they're so much better than anyone else. That anything that you have is to be destroyed, including you.
Yeah, including
Now,
you.
again, we're talking the most radical, the ones who take this to the nth degree. Not all, but there's enough that think this way. And out of 2 billion people, you get even, let's just say 1%. 5% are, even 10% think that way. I mean, 2 billion people, what's 10% of 2 billion people? 200 million?
100 million, yeah.
And half of that at 5%, 100 million people, that's still a lot of people. And then out of that crew, out of that team, you've got probably the ones who will, excuse the terminology, no pun intended or intended, execute their plan of eliminating people they disagree with, or who are not Muslim, or who have left the Muslim faith or the Islamic faith. And we have a couple of videos of some of these guys saying this, and it's pretty scary. And you're just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? There's a sickness in these people to want to kill you because you're not their faith.
Right.
So we're going to get into this. So now, like I was saying before, you have these people who are using our compassion, our tolerance, our laws, everything to their benefit, and crying the martyr that, oh, what do we say about this Islamophobia, this xenophobia, everything, and how do we counter this backlash about people who are portraying us badly? Well, here's a thought. Stop blowing shit up. Stop your suicidal bombings, maybe. Stop, chanting like that first gal did, who I believe she's an American, by the way. And she was working for that Zohran Madani as an intern, who's running the mayor of New York. It's like, try doing that in another country, and try being that woman in the Middle East and some of these Middle Eastern countries and doing that. You don't get to do that.
Yeah,
there.
No, that doesn't fly. And like you said earlier, to bring back that point, is, you're in a place where you can do that. Doesn't mean you should,
right?
But that's an example of them using our laws, using
our compassion, our tolerance, our compassion, acceptance, whatever,
against us.
Yep.
And it's disgusting. And I think that they know that.
Of course, they know that.
And this is why they continue to do this. Now, again, in other countries, you don't get away with this. You get sprayed by the fire hose, or you get tased, or especially being a woman.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I mean, they'd string you up and hang you, like no questions asked.
Yeah, you're lower than an animal in some of these countries as a woman.
Yeah,
and to me, I don't get it. Okay, the reason I brought this topic up, and I told you this the other day when we were talking about what to talk about this week. I was at Costco, and 4 Muslim gals wearing the headscarves walked in. One of them, full makeup. I mean, I'm talking, the eyelashes, just sticking out, the makeup, the lipstick, everything. And she looked beautiful. She had all this, but you can't show your hair. But you could put all this makeup on and look like a $10 hooker. And that, and now, but you can't show your hair. I don't get it. And why, as a woman, if you think you are all that, like that bitch did in the very beginning, that's okay, that you're fine with being forced by the patriarchy of your religion to say, you got to wear a headscarf, woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, bitch?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's still,
what I mean?
It's very contradictory. I mean, you want to stand up like a big badass and I don't know, like you got something to say. However, you're still handcuffing yourself to the rules of this patriarchal religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this misogynistic patriarchal ideology, if you want to look at it that way as well.
Yeah.
So here's a gal. If you've heard of this gal, I believe she's Lebanese. She's a guy named Bridget Gabriel, trying to bring to light what Islam is really truly all about. If anyone would know, she would. And we had in a video last time. There's another gal, Erica Elon, I think is her name, who was in our other video. You can check that out about the Israel-Iran stuff, talking about the true nature of Islam and trying to let people know, and it's not everybody, but there's a difference between Muslims and Islamists. And the Islamists are the ones that you probably need to kind of put arm's length away. It's the Ilhan Omars, it's the Rashida Tlaibs, it's, the people like that who are really pushing for this. It's very anti-American, very anti-freedom, and it's anti-freedom for the women in this religion who go around wearing headscarves. My friend doesn't. She doesn't do any of that. You wouldn't know, like I said, that she was a Muslim, which is totally fine, and we have no problem. I love her to death. She is awesome. I love her to death. But you get some of these people, and it's like, oh my God. So let's listen to this gal. They're in a panel. Bridget Gabriel's on the panel. She's the one that's going to answer the question of this Muslim gal who's in here. And it's kind of like what we're talking about. You want to be portrayed in a better light? Stop committing all of these atrocities around the world. Stop, it's like, well, how come, so-and-so keeps getting, well, maybe stop committing crimes. Maybe wrangle in your peeps, and then everybody will have, you know what I'm saying. So let's listen to this, see what you were talking about here.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace to you all. My name is Saba Ahmed. I'm a law student at American University. I am here to ask you a simple question. I know that we portray Islam and all Muslims as that, but there's 1.8 billion Muslim followers of Islam. We have 8 million plus Muslim Americans in this country, and I don't see them represented here. But my question is, how can we fight an ideological war with weapons? How can we ever end this war? The jihadist ideology that you talk about, it's an ideology.
Because you people don't want the war ended.
Right.
Maybe, have you looked at the other sect of your religion? They don't want it to end until everybody else is eliminated who's not a Muslim.
Yeah, they keep bringing it to the forefront. It's just like racism in America. Yeah. If everyone stops talking about it and making it an issue, it won't be an issue. You're gonna have a little group here and a little group there and a little group there. But if you don't keep making it an issue and throwing it in people's face, then guess what? It's not going to be an issue.
Yeah. Stop crying and stop being a martyr and stop, stop crying foul. Grow up, deal with it, and maybe assimilate into society. Excuse me, because you going around wearing that, looking like you are in the sands of the Middle Eastern desert somewhere, doesn't help your cause. Freedom of religion. Yeah, no, I understand that. I get that. But freedom of religion, but also freedom of everybody else's religion as well, which means everybody has the right to practice their religion as long as it's not tromping or stomping on the rights of other people to practice theirs or not theirs if they don't have one. So when you push this stuff and you cry foul that people are treating you badly or giving you a bad name, well, maybe stop giving yourself a bad name by that first gal in the very intro doing that shit. Let's listen some more here, and then you'll hear Bridget Gabriel respond to her, and it's classic. It's about 4 minutes long. We'll interject in between, but I really think we do need to see this whole thing so you can understand everything.
How can you ever win this thing if you don't address it ideologically?
Great question. I am so glad you're here, and I am so glad you brought that up because it gives us an opportunity to answer. What I find so amazing is since the beginning of this panel, which we are here about Benghazi attack against our people, not one person mentioned Muslims. We are here against Islam, or we're launching war against Muslims. We are here to discuss how 4 Americans died and what our government is doing. We were not here to bash Muslims. You were the one who brought up the issue about most Muslims, not us. And since you brought it up, allow me to elaborate with my answer. There are 1.2 billion Muslims in the world today. Of course, not all of them are radicals. The
2,
majority of them
1.8,
are
you
peaceful
don't know,
people.
whatever.
The radicals are estimated to be between 15 to 25%, according to all intelligence services.
Okay, 15 to 25%. That's a bigger number than we just put out there a minute ago. We said
And
10%. And
yeah,
it's,
that's the
she's saying it's
radical.
15 to 25%. That's 200 million, let's just say.
Yeah.
So now we're
1.2
talking
billion.
almost half a billion. Well, 400 million, 350, 400 million, something like that.
It's enough.
It's enough. And
Yeah.
that is like the United States full population, by the way, of radical Islamists. So
services around the world. That leaves 75% of them peaceful people. But when you look at 15 to 25% of the world Muslim population, you're looking at 180 million to 300 million people dedicated to the destruction of Western civilization. That is as big of the United States. So why should we worry about the radicals, 15 to 25%? Because it is the radicals that kill. Because it is the radicals that behead and massacre. When you look throughout history, when you look at all the lessons of history, most Germans were peaceful. Yet the Nazis drove the agenda. And as a result, 60 million people died. Almost 14 million in concentration camps. 6 million were Jews. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at Russia, most Russians were peaceful as well. Yet the Russians were able to kill 20 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at China, for example, most Chinese were peaceful as well. Yet the Chinese were able to kill 70 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at Japan prior to World War II, most Japanese were peaceful as well. Yet Japan was able to butcher its way across Southeast Asia, killing 12 million people, mostly killed with bayonets and shovels. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. On September 11th in the United States, we had 2.3 million Arab Muslims living in the United States. It took 19 hijackers, 19 radicals to bring America down to its knees, destroy the World Trade Center, attack the Pentagon, and kill almost 3,000 Americans that day. The peaceful majority were irrelevant.
I mean, excellent point.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't take that many people. It took 4 people in France to bomb that concert hall, 3 or 4. And how many thousands of people were hanging around that place? You know,
well, that's kind of the thing, though, too. What did the peaceful ones have to say about that?
I haven't heard anybody denounce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very many, at least. And if they are announcing it, they're not getting the coverage on the news to let everybody else know, hey, we don't agree with this. We need to rein in our people.
Right.
We don't agree with what they are doing. So
they need more voices like, this Bridget Gabrielle. I mean, to stand up and say, hey, this isn't okay. And, for being, a quote unquote peaceful people, led, by a peaceful religion, this isn't very peaceful.
Well, their silence is deafening, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Complicit to the whole argument here. It's like, well, you didn't say anything about it that you disagreed with it. So therefore, back of your mind, don't you kind of agree with what's going on? And you're just like, well, I didn't do it, so it wasn't me.
Yeah. I kind of looped into the rest of them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Listen a little more.
So for all our powers of reasons and us talking about moderate and peaceful Muslims, I'm glad you're here. But where are the others speaking out? And since you are the only Muslim representative,
there you go.
Did we call it or did we call it? I haven't even seen this video.
What's that?
I said, did we call it or did we call it? I haven't even seen this video. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
Exactly. I mean, I saw the very first snippet of the gal asking it, and I knew of Bridget Gabriel before, and she's awesome. And she really kind of lets everyone know, but she is trying to educate people, amongst other people as well. Like, guys have got to understand, when you're dealing with this particular religion, you are dealing with people who are not of a like mind of anybody else who believes in their religion, their tenets and their religion. It is completely different. Nobody else. Jews are not asking for the elimination of the Muslims and the Christians are not. Were there things that happened in the past? The Crusade, things like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was then, and this is now. Everybody else seems to have evolved into a more civilized society, except these folks.
I agree. That evolution is key. You know what I mean? And if you don't do that, then we get stuck in this loop with these people. You know what I mean?
I have a problem with people who want to kill me because I'm not of the same like mind of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, does it piss us off? Yeah, it does. And that's why we want to talk about it. But you need to know what's going on. And you need to get rid of your little tolerance of, I'm tolerant of anybody who's like, you know, you can be a Muslim, you can be whatever, as long as, you know, live and let live, let me live and let live as well.
Yeah.
But when you start imposing, and you mentioned that good point, I can't remember if it was now or before, but about the LGBT community, they want to force their values on everybody. It's like, you know what? You be you, but back the hell off and shut the fuck up, because I don't want to hear your bullshit coming to me that I disagree with.
Yeah,
I love you, but STFU.
Yeah, it doesn't involve me. Yeah. I'm okay with you having whatever kind of ideology you want to have, but when it steps into my world and you start making demands on me about it, that's where I got to draw the line.
Got a little issue at that point. Yep.
A little
issue.
Yep.
Why our government, and I assume, are you an American? You're an American citizen. So as an American citizen, you sat in this room, and instead of standing up and saying a question or asking something about our 4 Americans that died and what our government is doing to correct the problem, you stood there to make a point about peaceful, moderate Muslims. I wish you brought 10 with you to question about how we can hold our government responsible. It is time we take political correctness and throw it in the garbage where it belongs and stop calling it.
I love her. She is awesome. I mean, that is just spot on right there.
Yeah.
Spot freaking on. You know,
yes,
and it just goes to show you, the self-centered arrogance that these people, they're a super id, if you know what that is. I mean, they're self-centered, arrogant. Oh, it's just unbelievable. So here's another little segment, and this is what you got. Let's see, you've got this guy who's I don't think he's an imam, but he's being interviewed, and he talks about this. And just listen to this. This is about 3 minutes long, but let's listen to what he has to say here. And let's get your thoughts on this here in a minute.
Points to specific verses of the Quran, and the criticism being that it is not a religion of peace. Can you speak to that?
So, objectively speaking, if you were to take the verses of the Quran about violence and compare them, just from a purely percentage-based comparison, to the New Testament and the Old Testament, you would find less verses about war in the Quran than the Old Testament or the New Testament. And there are plenty of studies to speak to that. Deeper than that, contextualizing.
Just want a quick point, and then we'll get right back to his interview. Again, like I just mentioned, that was then. Here we are today. And all of that violence that's being portrayed in all the different chapters and verses and everything in the Bible are not being practiced today, at least not on any sort of scale that even measures anywhere where anybody can say, oh, yeah, well, that's an issue. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. So just want to point that out, that he's trying to bring up the past. Again, it's called the past for a reason, because it's not still happening with everybody else, but the Muslims, the Islamists, more aproposly, if that's a word, that's what's happening, is these guys are continuing this ideology from hundreds or thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The birth of Islam, the revelation of the Quran, which was over 23 years, in response to deep persecution of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, makes it very clear that none of those verses are what they've been made out to be. If Muslims believed that they had to kill people wherever they are, mankind would not exist. There are 2 billion of us, right? If we believe that we were called by the Quran to hurt people and to kill people simply for being non-believers, right, it would not make for a sustainable world. So Islam is not violent.
There are some interviews of other people who do believe that,
Yeah, I think as a whole, I would hope.
I agree with him
I
as
mean,
a whole. You're right. Yeah.
I agree with him. Yeah, and I mean the numbers prove it, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about as a whole. We're talking about the extremists. We're talking
Yeah.
about the radicals,
Which
who
he
wanna
doesn't
take
address.
Yeah, which he doesn't address, and they want to take this as literal what we have to do and take it into their own hands, despite what he has to say, or despite what his leaders have to say, or anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So I let's listen a little bit more and see if he talks about a little bit more of that, because he's trying to defend the people who aren't the ones who are the problem.
Mhm.
That's not who we're talking about, El Tigre.
Yeah.
This is about the people who are the problem, the people who do take the tenets of the Quran and then push it out there as this. I mean, they would rather die so they can get up to heaven and take out a few infidels along the way as soon as look at you.
Yeah.
So let's listen a little more.
And I think that the history of Muslims also bears witness to that. The history of Islam is a history of contribution, is a history of building, is a history of medicine and science.
And he's right. Absolutely. There were a lot of contributions to the world by Muslims, but there were also a lot of contributions by everybody else as well. So I don't have an issue with that. He's absolutely correct.
And math. And of course, Muslims have sometimes fallen short of Islamic standards in the past and in the present. But if you look at the overall history of Islam and the history of the Muslim community, that's not the case. And when you look at the present, Muslim community around the world, Muslims do not account for a greater proportion of violence than other.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know about that.
Really? I think he's forgetting. And this guy's pissing me off. I think he forgets what 9/11 was. I think he forgets what the bombing of the battleship, the Cole, and then you had the Ethiopian American embassy in Ethiopia. I think it was, or Egypt. Go look at not all, but look at most of the big events that have happened in the world, that they were committed a lot by Islamic extremists, his religious folk. So when he says this, he's trying to deflect, and you have to also understand that they will deceive, they will lie, they will tell you what you want to hear, which is why, if you looked in our last video about Iran and Israel, she talked about the fact that they will do that. The peace agreements mean absolutely nothing to them. They'll just do that just to shut us up for a couple years. And then they break the agreement. And then something else happens. You had the bombing of the subway in London. You had... gosh, man, it's so many I can't even think of them right now off the top of my head.
Well, it just goes to show the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're willing to lie and do fake truths and still work on your quote unquote plan in the background, that's not very becoming of you.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it doesn't look good for your religion. I'm sorry, it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Well, the Paris attacks. You had the two different concert venues that were attacked. Those were Muslim attackers. You had stuff in Germany. You have reports in Germany and Sweden of the amount of rapes and whatnot that have gone up because of the Muslim immigrants that have been allowed to pour into European countries, and they're having problems with it right now. And I do have a video that shows that Portugal finally is figuring this shit out. Poland has figured this shit out, and there's a few others that are Italy has started to figure this out. I think France is trying to catch up and realizing that there's a problem, because they're fine in little groups, but then you get a bunch of them together. You all have heard about that town in Texas now, and we all know about Dearborn, Michigan, and a few other places in Minnesota, things like that. But you get these Muslim communities together, and all these people, and then they form their own little cities like they did in Texas, they have their own police force, they have their own, security, they have their own little world, but they'll come shopping at their local Costco and Target and Walmart. Then they'll go back, but you can't go into their city, their little town that they've created with a big fence around it. No-go zones, as they call them in England. And Britain, those guys, they need to pull their heads out of their asses and realize, hey, and I think they're starting to. There's an uprising of people who are attacking mosques and saying, get the hell out of our country, things like that. Because they don't want to come and assimilate, they want to take over. There's a huge difference, and this is why we can't allow the open borders we've allowed. Thank you, Mayorkas, you piece of shit. Right? I mean, oh my God. Let's listen a little bit more of this guy, and then we'll move on to the next one. I got a bunch more to show you.
Faith communities. And again, the word terrorist is a functionless and meaningless word because to me, it's
to you
no less violent if it's commanded by a head of state or by a government than by a non-state actor.
There.
So Muslims do not account for a greater portion of violence now, nor have they accounted for a greater portion of violence in the past.
Okay, you're delusional because they have.
Yeah, you're delusional. Yeah, that's I'm just
done with this guy.
Flat out. Yeah, that's a flat out lie. I can't listen to
done
him
with this
anymore.
guy. Yeah, he's a freaking idiot. So let's move on to a couple more. You're gonna love this shit. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Let's check this out. Here's some more. So this, we have an Islamist woman on trial for welfare fraud shouts. And by the way, they don't think it's welfare fraud because the Sharia or the Muslim laws that they only want to abide by, not our laws here. They say they don't need to pay interest on loans. How nice would that be?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that they don't have welfare for all these different things, and listen to this shit because she's on trial for welfare fraud and shouts, "Fuck America, fuck all of you."
Oh my God.
Well, you know what? Get the fuck out.
Go
Back to your home. If you hate it here so much, get the fuck out and go back to where you're from.
No one's begging you to be here.
Let's listen to this biatch.
Happy now? All of you guys, America, it.
Strong words from the wife of this Lovejoy Corner deli owner as she left his court arraignment today with their daughter throwing up the bird to cameras.
This defendant is accused of
and we're not sitting here getting them the hell out of our country.
A grand jury indicted 37-year-old Ahmed Al-Shami for food stamp fraud. Investigators say he would exchange money with individuals to use their EBT cards.
You happy now?
Unbelievable, right?
Wow.
Unfreaking believable, this shit. Oh, we have more. Let's just check out the rest of it.
Let's see some more.
Because this is awesome. Apparently, this started over the police wanting to search the Muslim woman. They wouldn't allow it because it goes against their religion. Well, how nice would that be? Again, you can't pull. Well, remember the IDs? Oh, you can't pull your hijab back or your scarf or whatever that's covering your face, your burqa, because it's against your religion. But so how are we supposed to know it's you, stupid ass?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Look at how they get pissed. Look at how they oh my God. Go back to your world, please.
Fucking dog. Don't you dare do that. Sit down. No. It's got nothing to do with me.
And just like the caption says, if every police force acted like this against them, we wouldn't have half the issues we have with them. When you allow these people to act like animals, they will. Because they use this stuff against us. Not all of them, but these are showing it. That goes on for a little while longer.
Yeah,
but
it's terrible.
It's this, and this is on now. Oh man, this is gonna get you hot under the collar too. This gal needs to be punched in the face as well. Let's just look at this here and see what she's doing.
Francesca Albanese, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Are you an anti-Semite?
Rolls her eyes.
I have to be honest, I will answer your question, fine. But I'm really bothered because with all what's happening and with all the effort that it takes to stay sane in the middle of this madness, as a human being, as a mother, as a lawyer.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's not the way I would like to start an interview with you, but I will.
Francesca Albanese, thank
Wow, but I will.
Thank you for having me.
Are you an
All she had to do was say no.
Yeah, all she had to say no.
All she had to do is say no. But then again, that would have been just another lie. So true. I mean, we're not trying to rag on the complete 2 billion, but I'll tell you, it's the couple 100 million that are like this. And it's another at least 500 million that, because they act like this, they may not be the ones wielding the knives, but they're the ones that are complicit to this and saying,
yeah, they're not telling them to put the knives down either.
No, they are not.
You know?
Yeah, they definitely are not. So we've got things going on in Europe, and I think this will kind of lend itself to people understand. This is straight from Imam, who is talking about what's going on in Europe. And if you don't listen to this guy and understand what he's saying, your head is in the sand, and you need to listen to what he's talking about, because this will kind of wake you up a little bit, I think, right here. So let's listen to what he's saying.
Muslim cleric literally hits the nail on the head. It's really unbelievable. He clarifies something and makes it so obvious. The Islamic countries don't want most of them do not want extremists. Saudi Arabia is terrified of the extremists. What happens to those extremists? You know what they do? They come to the West and they capitalize on the freedoms that we offer them to actually strip us of our own freedoms. That is what's going on. And he questions whether, is it the strengthening of the Muslim countries, or is it the weakening of the West? And he is right. We have weakened our own selves. You have to hear it in his own words.
The other extremist groups, like the Muslim Brotherhood, who are friends with the IRGC and Hezbollah people, they cannot operate in Bahrain, in Oman. These are Muslim countries. Where do they operate? In London, in France, in Washington, D.C., in Australia, in Canada, Toronto.
Yep.
They operate here. They have bank accounts. They register charity. Right. So Macron, the president of France, recently said the Islamic world is in a crisis. I say, no, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? To keep labor.
Oh man, are you? Did you just hear what he just said? This is the thing that always I laugh, because people look at the Statue of Liberty and that little poem, which doesn't mean jack diddly squat, by the way. Bring us your poor, your indigent, your this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. They're welcome here. Okay, that was just a nice way of saying, hey, we want people who are really looking for a better life, who want to contribute to the country. Not every piece of shit drag of society who's going to be a drain on our economy, who wants to do nothing but suck on the teat of the American people. This is not who we're talking about. Who want to come here and take advantage of us and our laws and our rules and everything else, and take us for granted, and then just live the high life on their own, doing their own thing, not even abiding by that. We don't want that. But that's exactly what we've been bringing into Europe, into America, into other places around the world. He's right. They didn't even want him.
Yeah. Well, and that, I don't know. That's where I believe the extension of the hand based on American guilt has really kind of bit us in that same hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. They are certainly biting the hand that feeds us. And guess what? We're stupid enough to put our hand back out again.
Keep fucking doing it. Yeah.
It is unbelievable how moronic we are. And by we, I mean no, because we're smart. We're not that dumb. But like we as a country are, and Europe is as a continent. I mean, it's just wake the hell up, people.
But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare.
Right.
They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work. So look at Poland. They don't complain from Islamic extremism, not a single terrorist attack in Poland. The moment they sense there's a problem, they crack down on it. Polish policy, beautiful.
Way to go, Poland.
The French, no, come. When they come, they use the resources. They go to Washington, D.C., and they sit in Congress. They support the Iranian regime. They go against the
Rashida
sanctions.
Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, to name a couple.
Right, with their hijab. Why? Because the ideology is filth to begin with. When you import...
See, this is our point. You're talking two different groups here. He's talking about the good Muslims of the world who contribute to the world, contribute to mathematics and science and everything else over the millennia are good. These people are not bad. That's why we said it's the Iranian people in this conflict that's going on right now with Israel and us are the ones who are suffering from the mullahs, the Islamic regime, who not even Iranian, who are oppressing those people. They want nothing more than to be kind of like America. And we showed that in the video. You remember that.
Yeah, they're westernized. Yeah.
Their malls look beautiful. They had, Cartier, they had Christian Dior, they had fucking, Prada and everything else. They're very westernized. The mullahs and the regime, they're the ones that are forcing the women, and not all of the women are, wearing the headscarves and the burqas and the hijabs and things like that. They just want to live their life normally. And they were a great nation, a beautiful people, but they have been corrupted by all of these issues that we talked about when we go into the history of that. And this guy's saying the same thing. These guys, they don't even want, fine, take the dregs of our society. We don't want them, and we open armed accept them all. Come on in.
Well, I want to know what Poland's policy is.
Oh,
what he's talking about. I got to dig into that. I mean, if he's saying it right here, they crack down on it. Why don't we?
Let's do a follow-up.
What's going on?
Follow-up video and look into that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
perfect. Let's listen a little bit more of him, then we'll move on to the next one.
To that, or you allow it in, or you amplify it, or you glorify it in any way. You make your bed, sleep in it. So that is also a problem of the West. The question is, Tina, did the extremists become stronger or the West become weaker? I say it's both.
Yeah, nailed it. I mean, he's right.
Yeah, right. He's right.
He is absolutely freaking right. And until we start realizing that this is not a problem that's going to end. I mean, I've heard things where they're saying by 2030, and I wish I had this other map up. I'll have to try to find it while we're going through stuff. That by 2030, Islam will be running the U.S. Will be the majority. Now, that's a scary ass thought.
That's scary as
for
shit.
me and everybody else. Now, here's another map I'll have to try to find. If I find it, I'll add it right up here. And it talks about the second largest religion in each state in the United States. Now, we live here in Utah, and obviously Mormonism is the number one. Guess what the number 2 religion is, according to this map I was talking about?
It can't be Muslim. Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah. If it's up there, I'll put it right there, right when I find it. But I'll tell you, that was a wake-up call, because over half the states, the second largest religion of that state, Islam. Scary thought.
That is a scary thought.
And not just because it's Islam, but because when they get to a point where they're majority, things change, and it's not America. It's not our laws, our rules. It's Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
It's Muslim law. It's their country. It's not our country anymore. It's their world, and we just live in it.
What would that look like to us? So if we don't, I mean, are they going to try to force us to convert and live by those laws and standards, or
great question,
are they going to be peaceful? And
another great question,
assimilate, or is it just a bold ass takeover? I don't know. That's better get my
if
guns.
We had a crystal ball. Just saying,
I better get my guns.
Yeah. So here's more of what's kind of going on in Europa.
Commissioner, illegal immigration is a well-orchestrated business for the orchestrators to make a fortune and to Islamize Europe. You have filled our countries with illegal migrants with the blessing of
Europe.
Germany and France. We pay Islam that hates us out of our savings to turn our cities into ghettos, to rape and to murder before our eyes in the name of Allah. We are filled with Muhammad and Mahmoud in a Europe that has become unrecognizable.
And I heard in England that Muhammad is like the #1 new name for a baby. What do you think of that? Oh, you're muted, dude.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I heard it. I heard that too, and it's scary. I don't. Is that more proof of the takeover?
Well, and that's the thing. It's not just us sitting here and saying it. When I'm showing you video after video after video of different people, both Imams themselves, who are strict Muslims themselves, saying this shit, and then this gal in Europe saying this, and this Bridget Gabriel saying it, and all these other people saying it, it's a bigger problem than people think, and it's a bigger problem that's being than what is being portrayed in the news. We're not hearing about it, which is why we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, and why is that, do you think?
Yeah,
why aren't we hearing about it? Why aren't people talking about it? Why aren't people bringing this stuff more in the open? Because I mean, are they afraid of being called
Islamaphobists?
Yeah, Islamaphobists,
xenophobists. Yeah,
fuck it.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, and then you have the stupid bitches coming out of that courtroom going, "Fuck America, fuck you, go back home. Get the fuck out of my country."
I'm sorry, but I almost feel like, and this might be a radical idea of mine.
Oh, probably, but go for it. I can't wait to hear it.
Don't you feel like when people say that, they should kind of be shot on sight?
Right.
At least in the thigh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bam.
Yeah.
And have
punch him in
fuck
the nose.
America? Really? Yeah. It should just be law that you get you get shot in the arm or something like that. I don't necessarily want to kill you, but say it again. And you might, I might pump one in your forehead. Like, I don't,
I totally get it, and I understand. But now I'm going to kind of flip a flop and just say, well, but where does that take our freedom of speech? Where does that take our freedom to say, go against our government and go and say, disagree with things like that? And I agree with you.
Yeah,
my patriotic nature wants to say, well, get the hell out of my country. You say that again, I'm not even going to punch you in the face, but I'll put you on the plane myself. But as much as we hate that, this is the problem. But it's a good problem to have, because I would rather have this as a problem than not. You're allowed to say that. As much as I hate what you're saying, you have a right to say it. If you're a citizen of this country, by the way.
Yeah, and that's kind of it goes back to that thing. They're using our freedoms against us.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. I hate it because because it's breeding hate.
Yeah. But that's what pisses me off about this whole thing with like YouTube. You can't say certain things. You can't go against the COVID narrative. Oh, Fauci's a piece of shit because you know what? He's saying it. You have to get the shot, and that's the only thing you can get. Well, you can't go say anything against that. Well, that's taking away our freedom of speech. Oh, you can't say that somebody's retarded. Oh, because that's insensitive. Then you can't call somebody a midget. They're a tiny person. They're a small.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, I can say it just fine. You're a retarded midget dwarf elf.
Homo.
That's pretty easy. Homo. Dare I say, fat. That's pretty easy to say, really, to be honest with you.
Oh, we're getting a strike on this one. I love it.
We are totally getting a strike and don't really care. But that's my argument, though. And I agree with you. But as much as I hate what you just said, you do have the right to say it.
You do have the right to say it.
Because I want to be able to say my point as well. I want to call you out.
But why when they can say stuff like that, but then when I call them out, I'm insensitive.
Oh yeah.
And I'm an Islamophobe.
Right.
Why is that? Why is there a double standard? That shit pisses me off.
That's the part that pisses me off too. Exactly.
Our solutions strengthen by all means the countries that are the first entry points, such as Greece, Italy, and Spain. Those who enter European territory illegally, they should receive no benefits. They should receive no asylum. They should be arrested. They should have their mobile phones confiscated. They should be taken to uninhabited islands, and then they should be deported to their country or countries outside of the European Union.
But you can see, and this goes on, and all these links will be in there, plus a lot more that we won't be able to get to. But if you want to dive into it a little bit more, we'll have that. But you can see, just like your sentiment, is this sentiment from her right here. Oh, they should be confiscated. They shouldn't have this, that, the other. Totally agree. But in America, if you're coming illegally, yeah, you don't have all those. You don't have the same rights not being a citizen. I'm sorry. That's the benefit of being a citizen and coming into this country legally, not illegally. You don't get the same rights that legal citizens have. That's just how it works. So you can see how she's just like, put them on a fucking deserted island. Who cares? Deport them. Get them the hell out of here.
Yeah, get out.
Because they've had enough. They have had enough of these people coming in, taking over. Their arrogance and all of this shit is unbelievable. And we can talk over this as we're talking, but this is a supposedly a video of 100,000 jihadists on their way to Syria. And this is the thing. It's like, oh my God, you guys got to understand what the hell is going on here. But this is what they are doing, and why is it okay for them to do this? And nobody bats an eye. People are maybe upset like us and things like that, but all of a sudden, this shit still happens. Look at this caravan of trucks and everything that look at it, all the way to the top of that mountain, the hillside, the sand dune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's okay for them to go in and invade these countries, and it's okay for them to come into our countries. Now, it's not coming in like that. They're doing it a little more stealthier than that.
Yeah, a lot more stealthy than that.
Yeah. And it just kind of goes to show you, like, what the hell? We're allowing this because, I don't want to be called an Islamophobist. I don't want to be called a racist. I don't give a shit anymore. Call me a freaking racist, Islamophobist, whatever. I know it's not for everybody. I'm not blanketing everybody in. It's the radicals.
Well, I mean, they're going to be the ones that are going to cause the problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, I think that, what was it, the word that politically correct? I think that the time of being politically correct is over.
I agree.
Yeah, that needs to be over, and that needs to not be a thing, and we need to not be afraid to say something. And it's see something, say something.
Yeah.
Or let your opinion be heard. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a homophobe. It doesn't make you an Islamophobe. It doesn't make you, a white supremacist. You know what I mean, or anything like that. The voices have to be heard.
Yeah, it makes you patriotic, to be honest with you. It makes you say, you know what, I love my country so much. I don't want it to be changed in a fundamental way that I'll never get it back. Because once you lose your freedoms, once you lose your identity, once you lose all, you don't get that back, at least not very easily.
No, you have to fight.
Yeah.
You have to fight for it. And what's been going on in Iran?
Yeah, they're trying to fight for their freedom, but they're being oppressed.
Right. Israel. I mean, what's been going on in there in that Middle East for thousands and thousands of years? They've been fighting over their rights. They've been fighting over their land. They've been fighting over their freedoms. They've been fighting this religious battle for thousands of years. And do I want that to come on my country? My land?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, so what is this going to create if we keep allowing this to happen? I mean, you're going to have, and this is the next video we're getting into, you're going to have a civil war going on.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
And this is exactly what this guy is talking about. What's coming to Europe if this shit continues, and we don't have people like that last gal in there talking about how we need to get rid of this, keep these people out, because if they keep coming in droves like they're coming, they will take over. Because that small group that plays nice with everyone, once that group gets bigger, and then all of a sudden it's almost as big, if not half of the size, or I'll get almost as big as the group they're around. Now, all of a sudden, their tune has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So let's listen to this, because this guy kind of tells it like it is and says, it's going to be civil war. If it's civil war in Europe, and then you see that bitch from the very beginning who's yelling right in front of those cops, you don't think people are going to get pissed? I was you just steam coming out.
Oh, I know, dude. I wanted to see, what is that? There's a dude online. He's a big black guy, and he wears like shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And he's like a defensive lineman or something like that. And when people are being dumb and you just being idiots in the street, he'll go. And then like people will call and say, hey, my husband, my ex-boyfriend did this or that. So he'll go and he'll like tackle him like hardcore and like decleat him. And I wanted to see something like that happen to her so bad. Like some brother just come in and just decleat her. You know what I mean?
We have seen videos of that. You remember there was another guy, it was a black dude. He was in front of these cops, and then coming in from the video from the side, you saw this guy coming in and boom, and tackle the guy down on the ground and fucking took him out.
Just laid him out.
Yeah, just laid the guy out. And you're going to start seeing more of that. And then you're going to hear the cry of, oh, we're being persecuted as Muslims and yada, yada, yada. It's like, you brought this on yourself. Just like that other guy said, you made your bed, now you got to lie in it.
Yeah.
You start coming in and taking over and pushing people out and forcing your shit on people that don't want it. You're going to get some kickback, and it's coming from Europe. It's going to come from America, because we won't stand for this. There's enough of us out there that won't stand for this. Not you little pussies on the left who will just say, oh, come on, don't be mean to them.
Yeah, we can't be mean.
Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of that shit. It's got to take our country back.
Issue in Islam is so massive in Europe in ways that Americans just don't hear about, because our media never talk about it here. Because I'm sitting in Budapest, but I follow the American media. Matt, everywhere I go now, you're hearing people start to buzz saying civil war is coming. Almost everyone I talk to in France said, yeah, it's coming. It's coming here. Well, what they mean by civil war is not like one army against the other. They mean like the Islamic suburbs and a lot of the migrants riot. country people get fed up with it and they take up arms. The government's caught between. There's a guy, I don't know if you ever listened to the Louise Perry podcast. She's an English podcaster. She's very good. She had a guy on about a month ago named David Betts. He's a professor at King's College London in the War Studies Department, and his academic specialty is civil wars. And he gave this very, absolutely chilling, because he was so level and serene, analysis saying of why the UK is headed inevitably to civil war. It all has to do with the fragmentation of society, with the state valuing these migrants and Muslims more than it values its own people. You might have heard of the rape gang scandal where Pakistani Muslim men were kidnapping and sexually molesting thousands of white working class English girls in the city. The state the government knew about it, the police knew about it, the media knew about it, didn't want to talk about it because multiculturalism.
I mean, how much more
disgusting?
Yeah, that's hear it?
Yeah, and how far are you gonna let it go?
I know, and good God, finally we're starting to see a little bit of pushback, and people are saying, enough. You have that gal talking about it right there. They talk about how Poland, like I said, I think we should do a follow-up and find out, well, what is Poland doing? Oh, I bet you it's something on the lines of zero tolerance.
Yeah.
For this shit. Guarantee it. But Portugal is one of them. And here's, if you ever watch Natalie and Clayton Morris on Redacted, they've got a great show. They come up with a lot of stuff. They do a lot of good interviews, and they have a lot of good research they've done. Yeah. And here they are talking about, they used to live in Portugal for about 5 years. And they're kind of a little bit shocked that Portugal is actually doing something good about this situation. And so they get into this and they talk about it right here, and we'll listen to a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Well, tonight, a stunning reversal is underway in Europe, and it's not coming from Hungary or Poland. This time, it's actually coming from Portugal, if you can believe this. The quiet little country that doesn't usually make a lot of waves. They just get bullied by the EU and Brussels, and they get told what to do, and they get their hands forced on a regular basis. But Portugal's standing up to the rest of Europe.
Good for you, Portugal.
Wide open socialist darling of Southern Europe has just slammed the brakes on mass migration. So they're seeing what's happening in Spain, France, the UK. Frankly, Portugal cannot afford to let that happen, where you're seeing all of these riots. You're seeing, mass illegal immigration attacking innocent Spanish, like that elderly folks that were killed the other day in Spain. And now you have Spanish taking to the streets saying, get out. This is a Christian country. Get out of here. We want our borders closed. So, you see in the UK, of course, UK rapes are now through the roof. Crime is out of control. Civil services are being crushed to pay for illegal immigrants all across Europe, particularly in Portugal. Portugal, though, is saying enough. We're done. No more. Portugal's parliament just passed a landmark immigration reform bill that guts the so-called expressions of interest loophole. It's a policy that allowed illegal immigrants basically just to flood into the country.
Sound familiar?
Then apply for legal status by showing that they had a job contract. So come on in, and use our services. But that's gone. Ciao. Ateja. Bye-bye.
That all sound oddly familiar.
Yeah. It sounds dangerously familiar.
Dangerously familiar, yeah.
Bye. No more. So just so you understand, Portugal's immigration scheme was one of the most ridiculous in all of Europe. You could just invade the country and then get legal status later on, and they'd give it to you, no questions asked about it. We saw it happening right before our eyes when we lived in Portugal for 5 years. It effectively turned Portugal into a magnet for unchecked migration.
Look at how beautiful that city was they were flying over. I mean, it's this classic Europe, and the history of it being destroyed by them allowing all of these dregs of society, the dregs of the Muslim community, to come in. Right?
With tens of thousands of illegal immigrants gaming the system.
Oh, wait, he didn't say pigs.
Even though it was really stinking hard for us to get residency, we worked our butts off to
So isn't that
prove
amazing?
that, yeah.
We were legal immigrants. We came in legally, went through the whole process. We are
Portuguese residents.
Yeah. Even though we live in the United States, but we have residency, but we had that. We had to go through the entire paperwork process. We did it all legally, and it was a huge pain in the ass. But if you were an illegal immigrant, just come across and we'll handle the paperwork for you. See how this works? It makes no sense at all.
Again, does that not sound familiar?
So fucking backwards. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And so we can talk over this one because there's really, need to worry about the sound. Well, yeah, you know what? We might want to hear the sound on this one because this would be a good one to hear. But in the UK, we know they've been having lots of issues with things lately. And now there comes a breaking point, and I think they're starting to get to that breaking point now. The straw is almost on top of the camel on his back there, and it's going to snap that back in a second. And they're starting to fight like, you know what? We're done with this shit. So let's look at this because this is in good old London. Hello, Governor. Protesters chants throughout the rally of Allah, Allah. Who the fuck is Allah? I love it. Bricks are thrown at a mosque. Police van was probably put on fire. It looks like the Brits have had enough of immigration.
Wow.
You don't think you're going to see a lot more of that elsewhere and here in the U.S. if this shit continues on?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn right you are. Mark my freaking words on that one. You will see it.
Making the prediction.
Yeah. So this goes back to yet another person who was talking about it. And this was on Joe Rogan's show. And this is a guy named Gad Sayad, I think is how you pronounce his name. Giving some hard facts about Islam. And he gets into this. And this kind of, again, we want to pound this point home that this is something that people need to understand what's really happening here, and do not believe the BS coming from these people. Say, "Oh, well, we're just peaceful. We want to coexist with everybody, and oh yes, we'll sign that treaty and we'll abide by blah 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 whatever." It's a horrible Muslim accent, by the way.
You sounded like an Irish Muslim. That was awesome.
That's because I was. Anyway, yeah.
Here's me, little contract.
Hello, it is my little shillelagh. God be to Allah. And whatnot. But this is an interesting one. Let's listen to this because this will kind of open your eyes a little bit.
Can you break down the whole situation in the Middle East in just a few minutes? Check out this clip from Gad Saad, who is a Canadian marketing professor. He's on the Joe Rogan show over here in this clip, and he kind of breaks down what the whole vibe, the whole worldview in the Arab world is regarding the conflict in the land of Israel and throughout the Middle East.
Front that the Jewish state exists in the Middle East. So look at all other religious minorities across Arabia. Egypt used to be completely Coptic Christian, 100%, many hundred years ago.
Do you know that?
Today, there are 10% Copts left. What happened to those? There used to be tons of Christians in Syria. What happened to those Syrians? There used to be tons of Christians in Lebanon. There still are some, about 30, 35%, but Lebanon used to be a majority Christian country. So the goal of Islam, not individual Muslims, right? Again, I don't need to preface by saying there are millions and millions of lovely, kind, peaceful Muslims. Of course there is. But Islam as an ideology, does it tolerate others? Well, we have 1,400 years of history that either says it does or it doesn't, right? We don't have to watch TikTok videos. And nothing could be clearer than what the words of Muhammad were, the prophet of Islam, who said that you need to rid Arabia of Christians, but certainly the Jews. So the existence of the land of Israel is an affront to that. One more point, I'll cede the floor back to you. In Islam, there's a concept called Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. That means the house of Islam and the house of war. Anything that's under the Islamic control is good. anything that's yet to be under Islamic control is under the house of war. Once a territory is under Islamic control and you lose it, you have to get it back. It is your dominion forever. This is why, for example, Andalusia, which was at one point controlled, which is in current Spain, which was controlled by the Moors, an Islamic conquistador, a lot of jihadists will say, inshallah, we have to reconquer Andalusia. It is our land, because once it's under. So Israel existentially cannot exist. So why am I saying all this? You can't have peace if you have the other side that truly never wants for you to exist. That's the bottom line. If you can change people's heart where they say, look, I get a piece of land, you get another piece, let's build an incredible, vibrant co-society together, you'd have peace. But if you're taught from straight out of the womb that the Jews is the reason for every calamity in the world, you're not going to have peace.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, that's black and white.
Yeah,
and that's the truth. I mean, they are taught this from right out of the womb, and some of them, because of that, it's hard to. I almost sympathize and feel bad for them because they don't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're programmed this way, and you know, it's very sad to see. You know, for them to have this idea about these other people, like they need to be eradicated, and they are, you know, it's almost like programming robots from birth. Must kill Jews, you know what I mean? And
an enemy of me, I will kill you. Is that pretty good robot impersonation?
Yeah, it needs more Scottish though.
Oh, that's I'll work on that.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, and it's sad in a way.
Well, what's the difference between that, really, other than it's under the guise of religion, than the indoctrination of our kids through our educational systems from elementary school on up through higher education and college and whatnot? You know, I mean, if you're taught to hate America and all your professors and teachers throughout the time you're growing up are contradictory to what your parents are not saying, hey, look, no, this is bullshit. You know, you need to love America. You need to da-da-da-da. But then you're getting all this, oh, America sucks and blah, blah, blah. Everything from every professor, you know, you're talking to and who's teaching your class, and you're susceptible to not critically thinking for yourself, and you fall into that. What's the difference other than one's educational system and one is religious?
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're looking at this person who is working in this higher education.
Thinking they know, they're supposed to know everything. Yeah,
exactly. And you think that they have a good basis to sit this on? No, this is their opinion.
Right.
And they're subtly, you know, poisoning you with this stupid ideology that America's bad somehow.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's exactly the same thing. And, you know, and you take that, and because everybody between every kid between the time of what 13 to about 20
rebels against
rebels against their parents, think their parents are fucking idiots, and they don't know shit, and they know about everything now, you know what I mean, these kids. And then they're getting indoctrinated by these, you know, higher education systems, and what do we do? Our hands are tied.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, and that's exactly the same thing. Like, you know, they get the little kids, as soon as they're able to understand speech and the language that they're growing up in, just like English is our kids.
Yeah.
And you have these people constantly barraging them with these messages that start out kind of subtly, you know, and it's the simple things like, oh, well, your parents don't know best. If you really feel like you're a boy and you're a girl, actually, then, you know, don't tell your mom and dad, because they're going to not let you be who you need to be. I mean, just that's the simple, soft approach. And then it kind of eases you in, and then you get more and more radical as you get older. Well, the same thing happens with these folks, you know, is they're doing the same thing, but in the guise of religion. And I'll tell you, most wars have been fought over religion over the millennia. And I sit here, and we were going to get into this, but we've kind of really wrapped this up. But religion, people who are fanatical religious people, you know, and Muslims like to pray 5 times a day, by the way. They get called to the mosque or wherever they're at. They put the little prayer rug down and they, you know, sit there. And I don't know how long it takes them to do this prayer 5 times a day. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know. I'm always up for learning new stuff. But they're praying. It's like, oh my God, I cannot live I don't have time to pray 5 times a day. I don't have the gumption to want to. Hell, going to church once a week is you know, a task. And to be honest, I don't make it to church. Now, I believe in an overall general belief, higher power, things like that. But just because I don't go to church every Sunday doesn't make me any less a believer in a higher power or anything like that, for example.
Yeah. Doesn't make any person.
No, and it doesn't make any, but those, well, I go to church every Sunday. I do activities during the week and blah, blah, blah. Great. I'm so glad you have the time. And I'm so glad that you think you're better than me. You ain't. But most likely that person's not trying to kill me because I'm not doing that.
Right.
So there is a difference between our good friends in the Islamic jihadist movement and our Mormon or Christian or Catholic friends. I don't have to worry about, you know, keeping an eye out behind me. You know,
so it's a little more civil.
Yeah,
a little more civil.
The mindset you have to have, the indoctrination, the constant barrage of messaging that all Jews are the, you know, the root of all evil in the world and must be eliminated. I mean, that's a special kind of someone who wants to indoctrinate that into the youth growing up, just like people who want to tell your kids that America is the root of all evil and to hate this country. You know,
well,
it's kind of very similar.
Though, and it is very similar, and that's what I think is sad because it's generational.
Yeah.
No, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's like they're saying, you know, racism is taught.
Yeah.
You know, how many times?
Yep.
Yeah, how many times have your best friends as kids growing up were black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever?
Oh yeah,
and everybody was good buddies. Hey, everybody's good friends. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden later on, they're like, you're taught this, and it's a shame that some people fall into that and allow that to, you know, ooze into their mindset. But it does, unfortunately. So. The big thing I think we're just trying to say is there is definitely a difference between Muslims and Islamists. Is Islam a religion of peace? Depends on who you talk to. Depends on the delusion, like that one guy who was being interviewed and thought that, oh, there's no propensity of violence. More so out of the Islamic or Muslim community. Well, talk to me about 9/11 and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows, and he deep down he feels it. It's just kind of a cover up, you know what I mean? And doesn't want him to look bad. And you know, and I'm sorry. I mean, you've got a handful, or you know, half a billion full, that have made you look bad. So it's a little too late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To try to save face now.
Yeah. And we say that about various communities. If you don't want your community to look bad, then why don't we get somebody who's an adult and, you know, get up there and say, hey, you know what? Let's stop this shit. Let's, you know, let's be productive members of our society, and let's not, you know, continue this, this message or this portrayal that we are who we are, or that they're saying we are, because you keep perpetually, you know, affirming that, everybody is going to continue to think that. You know, that like that little Muslim gal at the beginning there, who is saying that well, we're being portrayed badly. And Bridget Gabrielle had to kind of say, well, if you wouldn't do that, then, get all your other friends and, those of you who don't agree with it, speak out, because none of you are saying shit.
Yeah.
So, well, I hope this gives you a little insight. Please leave us some comments and let us know what you think of this. And if you have any other insights, we're welcome to it. Again, we know there's a difference. We understand that not all Muslims are one way or the other. But it doesn't take very many to give you a bad name. And so maybe the Muslim community who wants to live harmoniously with other people in our society, in European society, in wherever they're at around the world, start assimilating more into the culture and being part of it. You can still have your particular religion and your particular beliefs and how you want to do things and stuff like that. But you also have to fit in to society as well to be welcome, to be, accepted. So hopefully we can get a little bit more of that. And right now I'm not seeing a ton of it yet, especially with that gal in the very, very beginning who was in the face of all those cops. That's the kind of shit that makes me want to hit a woman in the face.
Shoot right in the thigh.
Right. Yeah. Right in the kisser. Well, anyway, thanks, gang, for joining us today. I hope this gives a little bit. We might do a follow-up on this, because I think it's just that more of the message needs to get out there, what's really going on. And again, it's not everybody, but it's just enough. And you have to understand their deep-seated religious ideals of fulfilling their prophecy or whatever it is to take over, that a lot of them feel that's what they need to do, is take over. And I hope Iran sticks up and kicks those, the regime out, so they can start living in a normal, good life again. Because I think the Iranian people themselves are good people who just want to live and let live as well as everybody else. And I think there's a lot of Muslims around there, and you're getting a bad name. So start denouncing these people who are trying to get them out. Yeah, who are trying to kill us all because we're not Islamic or Muslim. We'll do a follow-up video because there's a good interview where you can see this. Patrick Beck David PBD podcast had this group on, and we'll have to follow up with that later. So anyway, gang, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Check out some of our other videos. Check out the Iran Israel video we did. We just put a new so we filmed it back in November with my buddy T, talking about the 9/11 stuff and the weird shit going on with World Trade Center 7. Really fascinating interview, because we have a lot of stuff on there that just makes you want to go, that doesn't seem quite right. There's not. Oh, now that you bring it up. Oh, now that I see what you're showing me, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, we try to do some cool shit like that you guys can watch and enjoy. So please do.
Yeah, check it out.
Anyway, have a good one. Make sure question everything, y'all.
Gotta question everything.
Yeah. So have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later.